So let's go to the military and secrets that are happening there. Let's talk a little bit about that and your thoughts about what you think on that.
Well, I remember when I was a graduate student working at a radio telescope, we had an incident where a very fast flying aircraft was zooming across the sky, and once it saw our radio telescope, it stopped and hovered. And we were getting radio interference, so we figured, hey, this has got to be some military aircraft. And so we called the NORAD headquarters and said, you know, you're messing up our observations. We know your pilots are curious about seeing this in the middle of the wilderness, but hey, we're trying to study quasars and galaxies. They insisted that they had no such aircraft with that kind of capability. And we said, well, regardless, please talk to your pilots.
Right, yeah, exactly.
And they said, no. And they kept insisting. They said, well, if you like, we could contact the Ottawa newspapers. And they said, oh, don't do that, don't do that. We'll make sure this doesn't happen again.
Yeah.
And then years later, we discovered they really did have aircraft with that kind of capability. But, you know, our government wants to keep that kind of stuff secret for good reasons. And explains why there's so much interest in, say, Area 51.
Right.
And our government just made Area 51 twice as big, basically to try to keep people away from what they were doing there. So
Now go to Roswell.
Yeah, everyone wants to hear your thoughts on Roswell.
Yeah.
Well, I've been to Roswell, and boy, it's a tourist trap.
Yes.
You drive through the town, and everything's about UFOs and flying saucers. They're all trying to sell you stuff. So they're making a lot of money off of this.
For sure.
But the real story is that what happened in, say, the late 40s, where something crashed, and the claim was, well, our government's covering up a flying saucer from another planetary system that crashed, and they actually have bodies of UFO beings, and no evidence since 48 of this happening. And now the government is saying, well, what was actually going on is that we had these high altitude balloon experiments that our military was conducting. We did not want anybody to find out about it. But hey, now that we're in the 21st century, we don't care anymore. But then people are speculating, well, maybe that's a cover-up for another cover-up. So who knows? But the idea that our government has actually housed the dead bodies of UFO beings and has a flying saucer that's 100 feet across, I don't think there's any credibility to that. Our government simply doesn't have adequate security to keep something of that nature secret for that long. So
I think that brings us to recent day events, and what's been a worldwide spectacle at this point is the congressional hearings of 2023, where three former military officials testified, two of their experiences in witnessing UFOs, and then one person who had top secret clearance. He was tasked on the UAP task force to find out special access programs that currently existed within the government, to report where the money's going, and along with that, he came across several programs he had not heard before, and then several that he was denied access to, despite it being his job and task to be able to go discover these things. And part of his story was that he didn't believe in UFOs prior, he wasn't interested in this, he was kind of an accidental UFO guy, similar to your story. And then he thought it was a hoax the first time he read about it. And then it continued to progress and progress and progress with other people saying the same things, verified documents, photo proof, that he became very alarmed and suspicious. And he didn't reach this full bird level. Full bird is the equivalent within the military for a civilian to be able to have, is the level of access that he had within the military. So a very respected guy, and he became concerned about how much money is going to these special access programs, which is a whole other topic altogether, but also that there is a reality that these crafts and beings exist in some way. He's very specific on the terminology that he uses as well. During the hearing, it was biologics, it was non-human intelligence, and he also made claims that the US government holds in its possession these physical crashed crafts and has been trying to reverse engineer the technology there which is a long-standing cover-up. And with his credentials and under oath from a congressional hearing, there is some serious weight that goes along with making those kinds of claims. What do you make of the situation?
Well, part of what I read was that they were claiming they were going to reverse engineer the technology that the government had. And they were saying, we're going to be able to build craft that can violate the law of gravity.
Yeah.
Well, there's no physical craft in a hangar that's going to be able to do that. I mean, the law of gravity is something that holds for the whole universe. So that part of the story was suspect.
Sure.
And if you're talking biologic material, what are you actually talking about?
Right.
And why hasn't it decayed? And so, again, where's the physical evidence? It reminds me of when the President Jimmy Carter was running for president. And one of his election promises is, if I get elected, I'm going to get to the bottom of this UFO phenomena. No matter how much it costs, I'm going to get NASA to go after this. And so once he was elected, he went to NASA and said, look, I got to keep this campaign promise. NASA's response is, give us something physical, we'll investigate it. If you can't give us something physical, we're going to focus on our mission. And with all the power of the presidency behind him, he couldn't produce anything physical. And so it's like, where's the physical evidence? And you can see from our military's perspective, they're interested in physical threats to the United States military.
Yeah.
If it's a spiritual threat, that's not our business.
Sure.
And so, but the fact that what you heard from these people before the Congressional Committee, we are dealing with something real.
Yeah.
And it's something we can't ignore.
They even expressed concern about their military airspace because it's a common occurrence to be able to see these things. There's been reported instances where they've almost crashed into the jets that they're flying. So there's a level of concern about what these things are, who's controlling them, where they're coming from, what their capabilities are.
Well, that's a real concern. I mean,
Yeah.
you're talking about some non-physical craft that's, the demons are behind it and controlling it. And so from that perspective, I think it's important that there be an understanding, not just amongst the U.S. public, but amongst people that are responsible for our defense. We're dealing with something that's real, but not physical. Don't try to intercept it or shoot it down. That's not going to work. And then to say, okay, why am I seeing this? Why am I experiencing this? Now, having said all that, you need to rule out what could be natural explanations. A lot of what pilots report as something supernatural going on, it's a piece of metallic paint that got ripped off their aircraft. It's floating in front. And so sometimes you misidentify something natural as something that's supernatural. So that's what I said. My own experience, 99% of what people report to me as something that they saw that's unidentified, I say, no, this is what you're seeing. So it's not something supernatural. It's something that's easily explained by normal physics. But,
And obviously some residuals that do account for the
oh
anomalous.
yeah, there's no doubt that there is a residual that's violating the laws of physics and yet is real.
So I'm curious it's proposed that this year of 2024, there are going to be more witnesses coming to take advantage of the laws written in place to make whistleblowers more protected within the government,
Right.
especially around UAPs. And that Grush is even saying, while I haven't been a first-hand witness, I haven't touched the craft, I haven't seen the biologics, I haven't seen that, I've seen documented proof, I have talked to the people that have first-hand knowledge. And some of them do want to come forward, and it's proposed that this is going to be a year where a lot more whistleblowers come out. If there does at some point become some kind of evidence that the government reveals, yeah, we do have craft, and they open a little hangar and they let the American public see it, what would you want to see to give it validity? And then what do you think it would be or is that they might put on a display?
Well, I think you are going to see a lot more people coming forward, not just in the United States, because Europe, for example, a lot of nations there have also said, hey, we're not going to cover this kind of stuff up anymore. We're going to let people come forward. But yeah, I'd be extremely skeptical about anybody producing physical evidence where they claim it's a craft from another planetary system, because I know from my physics that's not possible. There's some other explanation for what they have found there.
Yeah.
And so they're producing, quote, bodies. I'd like to examine the tissue and say, okay, is the biochemistry any different from what we see here on Earth? And so I don't think they're going to come up with anything. If there was something, I think it would be public long before now. And so, and then you need to actually examine, okay, why are these people, why did they not come forward earlier? What's going on in their lives? And if they've actually had a real UFO encounter, realize there's demonic influence going on there. And so you may get some irrational behavior. And if these people are being threatened by the demons behind the UFO phenomena, that's something we need to deal with.
I agree. I think that there's also the possibility that if there are physical remnants, similar to what's been published in research papers, to say there's something unique going on here, but it's very inconclusive. It's not standout special in something that's unexplainable. If there is a physical remnant that the government would have, that they haven't figured out what it is, it may not be special. They might be embarrassed about what they actually have behind their storehouse. That's one of the reasons why they don't want to talk much about it.
Well, there's also Area 51 is not the most secret military facility in the nation. In one sense, it's a good distraction for our military. Keep people focused on Area 51 and they won't find out about the real secret stuff we're doing. And so I think the governments of the world that are advanced in terms of military technology, they have a vested interest in not having the public find out what they're doing. And so when you say, why are they covering up? Well, they have a good reason to cover up what they're doing. But if they had stuff that was, say, from another planetary system, that's like a Nobel Prize. Why wouldn't it be produced? I mean, and you got people at very high government levels. I mean, Jimmy Carter, for example, he was the president. If there was something physical, how come he didn't know about it? So, but again, if there's something physical, we got a big problem because this violates the laws of physics.
Sure.
Right.